Hey, Mark. This is what, the 125th Lamplighter title? I'm just wondering, do you still get excited about books? It's been 15 years since you've been publishing.
I still get as excited as I did the first day that I read my very first book. And the reason why is, I'm reading a book right now, and as I'm reading it, I'm realizing that there's these little tidbits of wisdom that just help me to think and act differently about the way I live my life. It helps me to understand a little bit more about the character of God. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love these stories, because life is really all about being conformed to His image, mm-hmm. And how else does that happen but through the people we meet and the books we read. Mm-hmm. And so here's a book called The 7 Days Left. And when I read this book a year ago, let me tell you what it's about first. Sure. It's a story about a man who has this dream, and he's got 1 week to live. And the dream is so vivid that he believes that God sent this angel to really tell him that at the end of 7 days, you're going to die. Mm. And he is just so convinced of it that when he comes downstairs in the morning, everyone in his family, his daughters, his wife, they know that Daddy's different. Now, this man has been a self-righteous man. When he gives money to the church, people know that he gives. Mm-hmm. He's a very austere boss at work. Someone recently that week died in an explosion. He runs a railroad station, and he doesn't show up at the funeral, and his workers really despise him. But he's the boss, mm-hmm. and he just feels like, you get paid to do your work, and I get paid for you to work for me, mm-hmm. and he's just a selfish, stingy individual. He feels like, I don't hurt anybody. I do what I'm supposed to do, and I reap the benefits, and why shouldn't I? Mm-hmm. So he's this person of the self-righteous man, and all of a sudden he has this dream, and he starts to see his life from God's perspective. Mm. He starts to see his life in that he is a selfish individual. He doesn't care for other people other than himself. He's not a very good husband. He's not a very good father. And all of a sudden, he starts to change. And so his relationship with his workers start to change. And he goes there and he starts giving them benefits. He goes there and visits the woman whose husband just died, and he starts supporting her. He starts to take an interest in his daughters. He takes an interest in the young man who's courting his daughter, and he starts to look into his eternal soul. Mm-hmm. He starts to talk to the pastor of the church and to see how he can be most useful in the church. Mm-hmm. And then he gets the whole community together to help them to see that one of the reasons that the culture is failing is that we're not truly loving others better than ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And then people start to falsely accuse him of self-righteousness.
Don't give it all away. Don't give it all away.
It's an amazing story. And then when you get to the end of the book, you're just like, your heart starts pounding because you really think that, how is this man going to die? I believed that at the end of the story, this man was going to die. And then when I got to the end, and